Imagine a hot summer day in July 1518. The city of Strasbourg is busy, smelly, and full of life. Suddenly, a woman named Frau Trophia steps out of her house. Without any music, without saying a word, she starts to dance. It wasn't a dance of joy. Her face was blank, her eyes were wide, and her movements were jerky and violent. She danced for hours until she collapsed from exhaustion. But as soon as she woke up, she started again. Neighbors watched, at first amused, then confused, then concerned. She did not stop to eat. She did not stop to sleep. By the third day, others began to join her, not because they were forced, not because they were threatened, but because something inside them compelled them to move. Within a week, over 30 people were dancing. City authorities did what seemed logical at the time. They hired musicians. They cleared space. They believed the dancers needed to dance it out. But the more the music played, the more people joined, and the dancing did not slow. It spread. By the end of the week, 34 more people joined her. Within a month, there were 400 people dancing in the streets, unable to stop. This wasn't a party, it was a death march. People were screaming in pain, their feet were bleeding, and their hearts were failing, but they kept moving. This is the story of the dancing plague, one of the strangest and most terrifying mysteries in human history. Why did this happen? Was it a curse, a poison, or something much deeper inside the human mind? Today, we go back to 1518 to find the truth. To understand the madness, we have to look at the world they lived in. 1518 was a year of total despair. Strasbourg was part of the Holy Roman Empire, and life was incredibly hard. For years, the people had suffered from failed harvests. Bread prices were so high that families were starving. On top of that, new diseases like the Great Pox, syphilis, were killing thousands. People believed the world was ending. But the most important part of their world was religion and superstition. The church taught that if you sinned, God would punish you. There was a specific legend about Saint Vitus, a Christian martyr. It was believed that if you made him angry, he would send a dancing curse to punish you. When you combine starvation, constant fear of death, and a deep belief in curses, the human brain reaches a breaking point. The people of Strasbourg weren't just sick, they were living in a psychological pressure cooker. They were waiting for a disaster to happen, and Frau Trophia was the spark that lit the fire. The dancing plague did not begin with madness, it began with imitation. A single action, witnessed by many, slowly became something shared. And once enough people were doing it, it no longer felt strange, it felt normal. This is how behaviors spread, not because they make sense, but because they are seen. No one planned to dance. They simply saw someone else doing it. And at some point, watching became joining. Joining became normal, and normal became unstoppable. People who had never met moved in the same rhythm for reasons they could not explain. They were not celebrating, they were not performing. They looked exhausted, distressed, trapped in motion, yet they continued, as if the act itself had detached from choice. As the number of dancers grew from 50 to 100, the city leaders, the Council of 21, became terrified. They didn't know what to do. They called in local doctors and priests. The doctors gave a strange diagnosis. They said this wasn't a spiritual curse, but a natural disease caused by hot blood. According to the medical science of that time, the only way to cure hot blood was to dance it out. Instead of helping the people rest, the city council decided to help them dance more. They cleared 2 market squares and even built a large wooden stage. They believed that if the victims danced day and night, the fever would leave their bodies. To make it easier, the city actually paid professional musicians to play loud drums and pipes. They even hired strong men to hold up the dancers when they were about to fall. This turned the city into a literal hell. Imagine the sound of drums pounding 24/7 mixed with the screams of people whose bones were breaking. Historical records from the time state that at its peak, 15 people were dying every single day. We know this happened because of the city chronicles of Strasbourg. These are official government records. They mention how the dancers were eventually bundled into wagons and taken to a shrine in the mountains dedicated to Saint Vitus. There, their feet were put into red shoes and they were led around an altar. Surprisingly, after this religious ritual, the dancing slowly stopped, but the damage was done. Modern historians estimate that between 100 to 400 people died in those few months. The streets were quiet again, but the ground was literally stained with the blood of those who couldn't stop. Theories historians have proposed. Over the centuries, historians and scientists have tried to explain what happened in Strasbourg. Several theories emerged. Theory 1. Poisoned bread, ergot fungus. Some suggested that contaminated rye bread caused hallucinations and convulsions. Ergot fungus can produce effects similar to LSD, but this theory has problems. Ergot poisoning causes spasms, sickness, and confusion, not coordinated rhythmic dancing that lasts for days. The symptoms did not match. Theory 2. Religious mania or possession. In a deeply religious society, some believed this was punishment from Saint Vitus, a curse that forced people to dance. But this explains belief, not behavior. Faith may shape interpretation, but it does not explain how the body keeps moving for days without rest. Theory 3. Mass psychogenic illness, or mass hysteria, most accepted today. Modern historians lean toward a different explanation. What happened in Strasbourg may be one of the earliest recorded cases of mass psychogenic illness, a condition where stress, fear, exhaustion, and shared anxiety manifest physically, spreading through a group without any biological cause. No toxin, no disease, no possession. Only human minds under extreme pressure, mirroring one another. And once enough people began, the behavior sustained itself, not because they wanted to dance, but because their bodies no longer knew how to stop. The social media connection. But let's look at today. We think we are smarter than the people of 1518, but are we? Look at social media. We see viral challenges where millions of people do something completely useless or even dangerous just because they saw it on their feed. We have seen people eating detergent pods, jumping out of moving cars, or doing cringe dances in public places where they don't belong. Why do we do it? It's the same social contagion. In 1518, the algorithm was the legend of Saint Vitus. Today, the algorithm is a computer code designed to keep us moving, keep us scrolling, and keep us dancing to the same beat. The people of Strasbourg danced because they were stressed and lost. We scroll and follow trends because we are lonely and want to belong. Both are forms of trance. When the trend dies, we feel embarrassed. We delete the videos. We pretend it never happened, just like the Strasbourg Council tried to erase the records of the dancing plague. We haven't changed, only our stage has. The dancing plague of 1518 is a reminder of how fragile the human mind is. We are social animals. We follow the crowd, even if the crowd is dancing off a cliff. Human behavior can spread faster than understanding, and once something becomes shared, It can feel normal, even when it makes no sense at all. History isn't here for us to memorize the names of the dead. It is here so we can see our own shadows reflected across time. Before you close this video or scroll down to the next viral sensation, I want to leave you with one question. As you move your thumb or follow what the world tells you is trending, are you truly in control of your own rhythm? Or are you simply dancing in the midst of a plague called social contagion, waiting for your own heart to stop to a beat that was never yours to begin with? Thank you for listening. This has been The Myth Echoes, and this story is not meant to be remembered for what it explains, but for what it quietly asks.